Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to another edition of Intuitive Angling. Really appreciate you guys taking a little time out of your day to watch the video. Got a fun video for you guys today. A lot of you guys have been requesting that I tell some of the stories from back in the day, and I've got 4 good stories I'm going to tell you about some harrowing airplane experiences I've had surrounding fishing, flying, that type of stuff. I flew a bunch, fishing and business with fishing and stuff over the years, and I got 4 that I think you might find pretty interesting here. I'm going to share that with you guys. But real quick, I just wanted to give you guys an update on the Blocked Old School Jig. If you guys have been to the website, you saw that we're out of stock. We've had a hiccup in the supply issue with some weed guards, getting that squared away. So just be patient there. I'll let you know when everything's back up online, or you can check it from time to time. Also, while you're there, go by and check out the Baitworks links, man. If you guys want to help support the channel here and you need whatever you need in fishing tackle, they got it at Baitworks. I'll include the link in the description there. Okay guys, I've done first of all, I hate to fly. I hate airplanes. I think airplanes are the worst invention man ever came up with. There's nothing about flying I like. I hate every aspect of it. I hate from the time I go to the airport till I'm sitting waiting on the plane, till I'm sitting in the plane, taking off, flying, landed. I hate it. I get motion sickness real bad. I don't like to be in confined spaces. I don't like to be, I don't like somebody else driving me somewhere. It's just terrible. So, but I've had to fly a lot over my career, with seminars and, sponsor stuff and that type of deal. So I'm going to tell you 4 stories what happened, a little harrowing there. First one I'll get into, I was coming back, I'd done a seminar in New York, and I was coming back, I flew from Tulsa to New York, and I was coming back, I was leaving New York, flying into Chicago O'Hare, and then I jumped on a connecting flight to go to Tulsa. So anyway, we get on this flight and we're taking off, and we're getting up. We've been up for maybe a minute or two, and I hear this weird noise on it just didn't sound right. Something was like a loud, like a clank or something on the outside of the plane. And I'd been flying a lot, so like, man, I'd never heard that before. That sort of sounded a little bit weird. So we flew about another 15 or 20 minutes, and the pilot comes over the intercom, and he goes, folks, I just want to let you know we got a little bit of an issue. He goes, we're going to have to monitor this situation as we get to Tulsa, but we've got one problem. We can't get one of our landing gear down. So I'm like, are you kidding me? So everybody was a little concerned at this point. You didn't know what to say. But so we went ahead and flew on in, or we were flying into Tulsa, and we get probably 30 minutes out of Tulsa, or maybe 20 or 30 minutes out. And he goes, folks, it's the captain again. I just wanted to let you know we still have the issue with the landing gear. We can't get the landing gear down. He goes, we're going to have he said, we don't want you to panic. He says, but we're going to have to go to sort of emergency preparation mode. And he says, what we're going to have to do is we've got to do a flyover over the airport, because we don't know if our landing gear's down, so they can get a visual to see before we can land, that type of stuff. So at this point, I'm thinking, it's like, okay, what if this landing gear can't come down? What are the options here? They can't land with one landing gear. So I'm thinking, if they can't get this landing gear down, obviously there's no way to do it or manually or whatever. I said, they're going to have to belly land this thing. It's like, where do you belly land it? And I was thinking about, Keystone Lake. Are they going to put this thing down on a lake, or are they going to put it down on a field somewhere? So everybody's getting a little nervous at this point. So anyway, he comes in low. We start to descend into Tulsa, and he gets low, and he's like, he comes in low on the airplane. And we get there, and as we're coming down, I was looking off the side. I was in the exit row seating, and there were emergency vehicles everywhere. There was like fire trucks, emergency vehicles alongside everywhere. And we went down super low. I mean, we almost touched the ground, and then he takes it up again like that. And he circles around, and he doesn't say anything for a long time. So everybody's like, what the heck, And the captain goes, well, he goes, folks, it looks like everything is in place. He says, but we don't know if the landing gear is locked down secure or not. He said, we're gonna come in for the approach. And he said, just bear with us here, hold on. So we come down there and we make the landing and everything. And as soon as we touch down, all these emergency vehicles are like following us right down the runway. And we get in there, everything was fine. So that one turned out good. Excuse me, that one turned out okay. Okay, on to the second one. The second one, this isn't a dangerous thing, but I thought you guys might find this funny. Back in the day, before GPSs or anything like that, some guys, I didn't, they used to fly the lake to get a visual of like what the lake looked like, because we didn't have maps. We didn't have any type of GPS to see it, no satellite imagery, no Google Earth or anything like that. So a lot of pros, they would rent a small plane with, a couple guys, and they'd charter it for 30 minutes and fly the lake. So we were at Lake Mead for the first time. And anyway, Joe Thomas, a lot of you guys know Joe Thomas. Joe's been, he's got the TV show. He used to fish forever. But Joe Thomas and Randy Mosley, one of the other pros, they talked me into flying Lake Mead with them. So, and I didn't like to fly because I get sick, motion sickness. So we get in this little small plane, and I'm up front with the pilot. Joe and Randy Mosley are in the back seat. And we get up and we start to level off, and I start getting sick. And I said, guys, I'm going to throw up. And it's a tight space. This is a small plane. And they're like, Dad, don't throw up, man. It's going to be bad. So Joe had a map case, and I grabbed Joe's map case and I threw up in this map case. And then everybody started getting sick, and the pilot had to take it right back down, so we didn't even get to fly the lake. That was a memorable one. The next one was, this is an interesting story too. Brent Chapman and I, we were leaving Kansas City, Missouri. We had a sponsor meeting to attend in Virginia, and for one of our sponsors at the time. So anyway, Brent and I had the same flight out there, and we were going to fly this plane out there. So anyway, we're getting ready to get on this plane, and I'll preface this a little bit. I was about 5 years before that. I had this friend of mine he was sort of an Indian shaman. He was just like, he's the Apache medicine man guy, and I'd done some sweat lodges with him. And he had told me some things over the years that had happened, and he was like sort of a visionary type dude. Really fascinating guy. Anyway, I was with him about 5 years before that at a sweat lodge, and he told me, Randy, he goes, let me tell you something right now. He goes, I want to tell you something that you need to remember one day. And he goes, one day, he said, you're going to be in an airport, and he said, you're going to be getting ready to go on a flight. And he said, if you get on this one flight that I'm talking about, he goes, the takeoff is going to be beautiful. He said, but you're going to come down like a rock and crash if you get on this plane. And I'm like, well, how am I going to know that? And he said, you're going to know it because he said, you're going to look out there. There's going to be two things. He said, your flight is going to be canceled, and they're going to put you on a different plane. And this plane is going to have those curved up wings on the end. And back then there was hardly no planes with those curved up wings on the end. They were all just straight. So anyway, Brent and I were waiting. We flew out of Kansas City, and we had a connecting flight. I can't remember where it was. It was like Nashville or something like that. And we're waiting to get on our plane in Nashville, and they came on the intercom. They said flight such and such has been canceled. We've got another flight for you guys, can catch in 30 minutes. So I remember what the guy told me. I didn't think anything about it. And I looked out there, we were getting ready to get on the plane, and it had those upturned wings on it. Just like that Indian shaman had told me. They had rescheduled the plane, and it was this upturned wing that there was hardly none of them back there. And I went to Brent, and I said, Brent, I'm going to tell you something right now. I said, let me tell you this story. And I told him the whole story, and Brent's eyes got like that big. And I said, what do you want to do? And Brent goes, I don't want to get on the plane. So we didn't get on that plane. We stayed overnight there until we got another plane that didn't have upturned wings on it and made it in okay. So, okay, the last story here, this was another sort of hairy one where it was coming into Chicago again. I was flying, I can't remember where, somewhere back east into Chicago O'Hare. And we're coming in for our landing here in this particular thing. This was like night. This was like 10 o'clock at night. And we're coming in for the landing. And you know how when you get ready to land, you almost feel like you're going to touch down, like you're bracing to touch down. As soon as we got to that point where we touched down, the pilot gunned the airplane and went straight up with it. Everybody on the plane is screaming at the top of their lungs. Ah! It's just like, it was like a fighter pilot or something. I didn't even know a big giant plane could do that, but this guy nailed this thing. It felt like he was going vertical with the thing. Everybody's like holding on, screaming. This girl's next to me is screaming at the top of her lungs. And he gets up and then he circles. He banks real steep, like we're on our side, and he starts circling the airport. And he doesn't say anything. The pilot doesn't say anything. Everybody's freaking out on the plane. And finally, the pilot goes on. He goes, "Well, folks, sorry about that." He goes, "We had a airplane on the runway right in front of us, and we had to make an emergency detour." Apparently, they practiced for that. He didn't tell us, but that was harrowing too. But anyway, guys, that's my 4 airplane experiences I wanted to share with you guys. Like I said, I'm sure if you fly, you probably had some stories yourself, but just thought you guys might enjoy that little story there. So thanks for tuning in. We'll talk to you guys later on.